6, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. With me on.
Final drive Monday through Friday, three to
Man, I keep
six
saying word.
Central.
I don't know why I keep saying word all the time. I put it in the video that way too.
It's all good.
There must be a final drive out there somewhere though. I keep seeing it. Oh, I just got a brain freeze. I apologize for that. I said it on the show today too.
Hello, Kelly. So I just wanted to show this just real quick because
All right.
this is something
Because
they do. Well, really, what I noticed, how I even found this in the first place, was how often they get into unbalanced.
a lot, which I'm glad that we
Yeah.
run it.
So I was like, all right, let me see what their unbalanced look like. Like, is it tackle over or what's the deal? And then this just happened to be the first play that I looked at, and I was like, oh, we're still doing this. All right, got it. Um, yeah.
That is that what JJ or the other guy?
No,
No,
this is
that's
with JJ. So Orgy has never thrown a ball
nope.
this season.
And
They
we'll
have
make
like
sure,
five guys who have thrown a ball, and Alex Orgy is not one of them. So
we kind of give away. Sure, they got to have it in there somewhere because we've seen him throw the ball and he can throw the ball. Um, but
so
anyway, they can pull out all stops. I imagine there's going to be some trick plays going on in the game whenever you get.
yeah, yeah, they ran their fair share of trick plays. They've got a guy that's eligible uh, up here all the time, so that's fine. Well, anyway, I think we're supposed to start.
All right.
I
Well,
feel like
then
I'm not hearing George. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. If you're
Yeah,
I
I'm
not
hearing
hearing,
you. I hear Corey. I'm not hearing George though.
I can hear Nick.
you can or you
Right.
cannot.
I
I
can.
cannot.
Okay,
I hear you guys responding to him, but I don't hear him on my end.
now that's weird.
That's very weird. I
When I
knew he.
go to the large view, I have three screens: Nick, Corey LeBounty, and Bama J13. And then in that screen, I see George's screen
Oh, but
smaller.
you don't actually see him.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
Wow. I don't think that one's on me.
No.
Nick
Um.
or Corey, can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nick, can you refresh your web page here and hop back in?
Yep. One sec. Oh, there you are, George.
Hey, my man. What's
Hey.
up, young buck?
All right, now we're good. Now
All right.
I'm not seeing the play screen though. I don't know if you took it down or not.
Yes, I took it down. You should just
Okay.
see four of us in a box here.
All right.
All right. Well, now that we're all good to go, um,
Okay.
I think I'm supposed to think I'm. Oh, not me, not me.
Well, I'll give you a little talking piece real fast.
Well, there you
Let's-
go. You're on the screen, front center.
Well, looky here, man. It is a Wednesday night. I am at the Choctaw. I'll get myself right back here, staying in this really nice place. They've done me a tremendous job of just hosting Consuela and I for a few days here. So I've got to give a big shout out to Choctaw really fast. The casino. And you know what? I was down, I've been down, and I did something just a minute ago. I don't even know what I did. I was playing blackjack on the computer, on the little machine, which I never do, pushing little side bet buttons over there, and bam, what do you know? $300 showed up in the inbox.
Mm.
So I quickly took out my little ticket and said, let's go, because I got to do a little a podcast, right? So I know that I'm getting lucky tonight, and I think there's going to be some lucky things that happen tonight during the show and during the Rose Bowl. So we got a lot that we got to be able to talk about. First, we got to get some expert analysis from a couple guests that we have on tonight. We're going to bring the fire about what's happening here. We're going to show some film, and it's really just all about the Rose Bowl pretty much. So we're going to jump right into it real quick. So let's start Teague's Take right now. So we're hitting
Hit the
people.
wrong button again. Whoops.
Yeah, all right. You know, that's what happens when you're on Christmas break and you're sitting around all day long and you get to do a lot of stuff, man. You play with the kids and all this kind of stuff. But I got to get something on my chest real fast. And this is not in the script or whatnot, but it just kind of happened because I was dealing with Ryan Fowler a little bit. And he was going back and forth. These Florida State guys, they still whining and crying. I wish they'd just stop all that noise. Right. But then someone else chimed in to me because I replied to Ryan Fowler about them being crybabies. Right. And that this guy told me that I made myself look bad because I was not taking the side of FSU. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how I can be looking bad because I don't agree with what he's saying. All right. And then the second piece, I had some text messages coming in, big text from a group for Blue Gray football. Got a coach in that game again today, and they were talking about players not playing in the bowl game. So we're in a bowl pick'em, just like we're having a Teague's Take bowl pick'em. I think I'm sitting in third place right about now. Doesn't really matter anything because we're on.
That was gratuitous.
Yeah, well, you know, I just have to tell everybody I'm in the tops of the thing, JT. Okay, but they were talking about how hard it was to pick bowl games because of players opting out. Right. And so I'm not sympathetic to that piece either because I feel like players, they got a choice. Why risk it was a question. Right. And I said, well, you know, Bryce Young risked it. We had other players that risked it when they weren't playing for anything. But that really wasn't the point. It was really more, how do you set yourself up success? Are you willing to take that chance to better yourself? So I feel like a guy should opt out when he cannot improve himself anymore for draft picks. You got intel from agents and all kind of stuff to tell you, hey, you should be picked right here, right? And so I think if a guy says, well, I can't get in, it doesn't matter what I do in this next bowl game or whatever, then don't play. But if you got a chance to increase your draft stock in a bowl game, I do feel like they should play for that reason. I'm a prime example of that, right? I know it's different. People say, oh, old heads and all this kind of stuff, but it doesn't matter. My take is 3 games that I had at the end of my career that took me from being a 6th round pick to a 3rd round pick to a 1st round pick, right? National championship had a whole lot to do with that. But the 2 bowl games I played in afterward, yes, 2 back in the day. The Senior Bowl helped elevate me, get me to the 3rd round. And then when I played in Japan Bowl, I had another great game. And I think that actually boosted me and elevated me up to that. So I'm not really sympathetic to guys sitting out for whatever reason. Why they get hurt? I didn't have to play in those games. I could have opted out too, but I was trying to reach some goals. All right. So JT, if you can pop on in a second, where am I just totally off base? Should guys just not play in bowl games and be done with it when there's not a championship on the line? Or I don't want to make it about, well, do what's best for the team. It's really, is it okay for me to say that, hey, you should be able to base it upon whether or not you can increase your value in the draft?
I think that's a great way of looking at it. I think that's a great take. I've got many things with bowl games, and I'm not even sure particularly where I sit, because I feel like there's just so many problems that lead to players wanting to not play in the bowl game. I mean, it's hard for me to say, even just in general, that you should want to play in the bowl game, because I have watched a total of 1 bowl game this entire, and that was last night because I was actually watching the bowl game while we was on the phone. So if that counts, that was the 1 bowl game that I've watched this entire season. So as for me, as the fan who's like, I'm just not even interested, right now until the playoff starts. I can't be. I don't know that I can take a side saying they should play or they shouldn't play because I'm not particularly interested in watching either way right now. So, but I do think that what you had to say was a very good take and a good way to to have somebody decide whether or not um, they're going to participate or not.
Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, then we're going to keep moving on because I want to get to our guest that we have on today. So I already talked to you about the Choctaw hosting us out, but we got another very special company that is jumped on board with Teague's Take and helped us present this today. So why don't you take a listen real fast to Beaches LLC.
Let me tell you about Beaches LLC. Yes, Beaches LLC is your source in the state of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle for exquisite quartz sand beach pools by Biodesign USA. A Biodesign beach sculpted pool is crafted with beach entries, customized seating areas, and swimming zones, and they all can be personalized to your swimming needs. The Biodesign swimming pool is meant to immerse you in your surrounding environment. The illusion of a truly beautiful beach can be created and extended onto the patio area, creating one seamless shore environment. Let them help you turn your dream backyard escape into reality with an eco-friendly, more durable, less time, and less expensive to maintain, totally customizable pool. To learn more about turning your dream into a reality, please visit their website at www.yourbackyardbeach.com.
Yeah, yes, I could hear you, but I had to mute you guys because you guys were talking over over the ad, so I couldn't hear you there for a little bit. But
I couldn't see the ad, so
Oh, well, it played. We're good.
oh well, I don't know. Did the viewers see it? I
Yes.
guess it's okay. Well, excellent. Well, good. So LLC, I think it's really pretty exciting about those. If you guys didn't see that behind the scenes, it's a new way that you kind of do pools. You know, where you kind of dig it and make it like a beach in your backyard instead of just the old hard concrete. They do something really, really nice. So we do appreciate them for their support in tonight's show. All right, so let's bring in these other guys. Right, so we got Nick Wiggins with us and Corey LaBounty. They are co-hosts, both of them, of the Final Drive, right, on WNSP 105.5 in Mobile, Alabama. I'm very thankful that they give me the opportunity to come on with them on Wednesday nights or Wednesdays at 4 p.m. To contribute a little bit, talking a little bit about Alabama and primarily the Cowboys, but some NFL stuff in general. These guys are on all week, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. So you guys make sure you download that app. If you're not in the area, you can listen to some great talk from them. They do a tremendous job. They're fun. They're good, just like our friends at the Bama Standard. You know, they always bring really, really good content. So we wanted to have them on today so that they can kind of give us their expert analysis on where we are with that. So, JT, if you can give them a round of applause to these two guys for coming in. All right. Yes, sir. So I really wanted to get to you guys. Thank you guys again for just all that you guys do, allowing me to come on and speak with you guys every single week. But I want to talk to you guys because you guys are a whole lot closer than we are, you know, to the team, not just because you're in Mobile, but you guys get to see a lot of things. And so I really wanted to get a feel from you guys on, I'm going to start with Nick first. If you can kind of talk about the progression of Jalen Milroe and what you've kind of seen, and do you think he's arrived and can play well enough, you know, to help us win this game on the first?
Yeah, look, when it comes to Jalen Milroe, I mean, this was the reason that Alabama was going to have a horrible year at the beginning of the season. It was all on Jalen Milroe. Oh, man, if we can just get the right quarterback, everything else is perfect. And by the end of the year, it kind of seemed like that narrative completely flipped. Now it's like, man, I think Alabama's only winning because of Jalen Milroe and because of what he's able to do. So the transformation of Jalen Milroe, I don't think they give out a most improved player in college football, but if they did, he would have every vote. He would have won it unanimously because, I mean, look, this guy got binged at the USF game, for the other guys, and then we kind of all were like, okay, Milroe, come back, please. But the growing pains, right? The growth, we saw the Texas game, the bad picks. Now all of a sudden, I feel like he's not making bad picks anymore. I feel like he makes every read perfectly. He always makes the right read, it seems. I wouldn't want to have any other quarterback, I feel, in college football right now on like a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 5, because he's able to buy so much time. It used to be snap it, make a read, maybe 2, and then I'm just going to run for it. Now I feel like instead of just sprinting and scrambling, he's kind of buying time in the pocket. And then, his running back, he comes off the block, and then he's able to kind of do that little shuffle pass. And I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I just feel like lately, the past few games, like Auburn, Georgia, I feel like the 3rd down conversion rate for Alabama has just been extremely high, like over 70% every time against these really good defenses. And I think that has been the biggest transformation for Jalen Milroe. And he's going to be the biggest key to Alabama's success against Michigan and throughout, the playoff if they advance.
All right. Well, that's cool. Corey, do you think a lot of this has to do with who's given Jalen Milroe the opportunity to grow this much? Are you giving any of this to Tommy Rees, or is it just Jalen being Jalen and coming out of his shell?
I think first and foremost, you have to give credit to the GOAT and Nick Saban for making the decision to do what was best for the team. And I think by sitting down Jalen Milroe for South Florida, that's the best thing that could have happened to this 2023 Alabama Crimson Tide team, because the team really rallied around that benching. And they knew that the offensive production was lackluster there against South Florida. And also, it's just like we just had Christmas. And I remember we all remember growing up, getting that first bicycle. It came with training wheels. And sooner or later, you had to take the training wheels off to ride by yourself. And people forget that against Middle Tennessee, you're looking at a quarterback that only had maybe one career start to his name against Texas A&M a year ago. And we saw him do some great things. We saw him do some bad things. Against Middle Tennessee, we saw the potential there to make everyone say, in Milroe, we trust. And just because Alabama lost against Texas, people forget that's his 3rd career start. And those training wheels were still on with the brand new offensive coordinator, with the brand new system. So we knew we had that new shiny gift for Christmas. It was just going to be a matter of when are we going to be ready to take the training wheels off? And we took the training wheels off after the South Florida game and really got an opportunity to see the trust and the love that the team showed for Jalen Milroe. So Coach Saban and Tommy Rees both are to be credited with the changing of the offense, making it adaptable to what Milroe does well, and also to Coach Saban for putting him down on the bench and showing him what it's going to take in order for him to be a supreme leader.
Mm-hmm. JT, you concur with this piece on what they're saying?
Yeah, I really like the bike analogy. That's good because when you do take those training wheels off, the first thing that happens is you fall over and bust your ass a couple times before you start to get good at it. You still got to wear the knee pads and the elbow pads and the helmet, and then all of a sudden you kind of grow up and you start riding with one hand, and if you're good enough, I'm not good enough, riding with no hands. So his growth, he's gone from throwing making very questionable reads, where you're looking at the TV like, what did he see? Because that one looked like it went straight to a defender. And then later on in the year, you get into maybe he still makes a questionable throw, but it's kind of few and far between. And I think at the end of the season, those have almost disappeared, where he's not throwing into double coverage very often. And as Nick said, he's kind of moving around in the pocket trying to buy time, not necessarily just run, even though there are some times where I think he should just run, just go. Maybe twice in that Auburn game where he threw the ball past the line of scrimmage, and he's like, "Hey man, don't let's not
way past the line of
yeah
scrimmage.
let's make a decision here. Let's just go ahead and go. Let's run this thing and pick up some yards." So I think that we've seen a quarterback grow up very quickly within a season in front of our eyes, and that's been a cool thing to watch. You know, usually you don't see quarterbacks start that low and reach that height in the same season. Usually either they sit a couple years and they come in kind of in the middle of the season where Jalen Milroe was, and they get better from there. Maybe a Carson Beck. You know, Carson Beck, I'm not saying he's a world beater. I'm not even saying he's better than Jalen Milroe, but where he started at the beginning of the season was probably where Jalen was at the middle of the season. And I think that's usually kind of what you see from quarterbacks taking over big programs like this. So kudos to him and the coaching staff for sticking with it, trying to figure out ways to make it work, and getting to a point now where at this point of the season he's playing his best ball.
Yeah, well, we're going to show some film here in a little while about that too, where it's going to be key when you got to see the way that Michigan rushes and where he can be exploited. They can be exploited by the way he moves in the pocket, or it could be a problem with the way that he scrambles too. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I want to ask you guys, Nick and Corey, what do you guys know about, you know, our injury situation? You got any kind of intel on, are we healthy? Are we going into this full strength? We got all our dudes ready to go or not? I'll shoot that over to Corey first. Anything you know about the injury report?
Yeah, I know that Jace McClellan, of course, being injured there in that Auburn game, seeing no action against Georgia, and that was tough for the Crimson Tide to have to deal with. But what it also did was give them an opportunity to see what they could do without Jace McClellan. And anytime you lose your leading rusher, that's always going to be a factor. I don't care how you look at it, but for the Crimson Tide, I think that Jace has had an opportunity to recover. And, you know, the strength and conditioning program, along with the medical staff in Alabama, second to none in the entire country. And I think that Jace is definitely going to be giving it a go there against Michigan. And that was really the only question mark that a lot of people had for the Crimson Tide. Deontay Lawson, of course, from Mobile, Alabama, in our neck of the woods, was probably playing at 80 to 85% against the Georgia Bulldogs. And now you're giving him an opportunity to rest that high ankle sprain that he sustained. So that's going to be critical to watch too. I think that's one of the reasons that you saw Auburn gash Alabama the way they did in the Iron Bowl, because when you're not able to make any lateral movement the way that you're used to doing, it allowed some holes to open up for Auburn, and a few there on that first drive for Georgia as well. But I think that Alabama is probably going to be the healthiest they've been, especially given the 3-week opportunity to rest and recover.
Ooh, that could be problems. We're actually going to talk about this 8-man box that we're probably going to see with Michigan. So, Nick, what are you thinking about our run game? You know, is it been up to par? Do we got room for improvement, or it kind of is what it is, what we've been seeing all year? That's what we got.
This is actually the lowest production of a running back room that Nick Saban has ever had here at Alabama, based just off yardage. And this isn't including Jalen Milroe, who is, I think we can all agree, the best rusher on Alabama. And obviously he gets better opportunities to run. You know, when you're running out of a pass play and all the D-backs are down and, you know, you got 10 yards of open field, that's nothing that a running back is ever going to see. So he does have that advantage. I think I know this isn't going to happen. I know this is crazy, but I almost think it would be beneficial. And I think, Corey, tell me if I'm wrong, I think Roman Harper said something like this when we had him on, but I think they should just run like 90% pass plays and then just let Jalen Milroe decide when he thinks he can run, because he's going to get at least 8 yards every time he takes off, right? So I think that's how they should go about it. Now, obviously, that's not how you can go about it, But I think that if you want success in your run game, Corey, like you said, in Jalen Milroe, we trust, man. He got us here. Let's let him take us all the way. I think you got to put all your eggs in that basket, because I just feel like when they're handing it off to their backs, I'm just not seeing the big pop plays. And I feel like with Jalen Milroe, there's a high likelihood that he'll give that to you.
All right, JT, you were about to say something?
Yeah, just the tease that I wanted to give, because we're going to show film on this later. But, if we just run QB counter correctly,
Oh God,
we'll probably have some pretty big plays. But Jalen's, hopefully over the last 3 weeks, Jalen's been coached up on how he should be hitting that counter play, and we've got a clip of it being run correctly, and it's pretty damn good.
by somebody else, by the team we're playing, and hopefully we'll be ready for it, because, like as you said, when Orgy, and that is not the O-R-G-Y kind of orgy. He spells his name O-R-J-I. So y'all don't be thinking no crazy stuff over there when we're talking about Mr. Orgy, right? He runs a pretty
My
good
nickname in high school, George.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, big shout out again to you guys. If you listen to the recorded podcast, we got Nick Wiggins, we call him Triple G, and Corey LaBounty on from WNSP.
Hold on. So now I got it. You
You
got to
wanna know
explain
why
Triple G
they
to
call
me.
me
Yeah,
so-
because this is like, I don't know nothing about this.
Baby.
Triple G, man. Good, great, gorgeous.
Okay.
In all my what do you call them, handles, usernames, Nick Wiggins with 2 G's, how my name is spelled, is always taken. So I always just have thrown in another G, and I haven't had
Okay.
anyone
like
else
that.
try that yet. So that's just what I've been doing.
I like that.
All right, so something off the topic, just because you're always throwing me off topic when we're talking on the final drive. What in the world is this stuff you got going on behind you? You got jerseys. I see a mic. I see a bunch of cords. Feel like I'm looking at JT. I see a big computer stand back there, just cords everywhere. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, look, I'm here in the control room.
Oh.
All right.
Got my guy Rashid watching over me.
All right.
Rashid's
My guy
not even
Steven
the best
Root,
Wallace.
he donated all these jerseys. He's from Michigan, so that's where all the Lions and the Pistons stuff is from. Some of them, just random jerseys you got. We got the signed Spud Webb right there, number 4.
Well, those your jerseys or those that are radio station jerseys?
I mean, I could take them, and I don't think anyone
Tell
would
the
care. If I just came in here one day wearing one, I don't think anyone would think an eye.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so we kind of talked about some individual players there, but this offense, to me, I feel like we just progressed week after week after week. Seems like they keep adding more and more to the playbook. And I think with this 3 weeks, just being prepared, we're even going to see some more stuff. So if you guys had to go into this today, and which we're talking about, right, the game, do you feel like this game is going to be won by the offense or by the defense? I know you can take it easy and say, well, we got to play with all 3 sides. Just what's that word they use now? Complementary football. Don't give me that kind of stuff, right? What are we looking at? The offense or the defense to help us win? Nick, you go.
I think that the defense is going to keep you in the game and keep it close, but I think the offense is going to have to be the driving force to get you the win. We got to see. We know that Alabama has a great defense. We know Michigan has a really good defense too. So, I mean, it's just what offense can overcome the adversity of the opposing defense. And if Jalen Milroe can make some magic, all of a sudden we're looking at the box score. Oh, man, 90 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns at halftime. That's the type of game that I think Jalen Milroe needs. So I do think that the offense has to be the driving force, because I think the defenses kind of just match each other. Both offenses are going to have a hell of a evening of football trying to score. So hopefully Alabama's can come out on top.
All right. Keep that in mind, because I'm asking for your prediction here in a moment before we allow for you to get out of here. Corey, what do you think? Which side of the ball we're going to have to?
I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go opposite of what Nick went with, because, again, Alabama's defense is what's going to have to hold them at tight and at bay. Because you look at what Alabama was able to do against Georgia in the SEC championship game. I think that after that first drive, they never let Georgia get into an offensive rhythm. And I think that if you got the Boyd B and then you continue to have Dallas Turner rushing the passer, I think putting pressure on J.J. McCarthy is what's going to be critical for Alabama. You can't let him sit there and pick you apart. You have to control the line of scrimmage. I think the game's going to be won in the trenches. As you know, they say in the Southeastern Conference, you play big boy football. And I think that in the past, Alabama has been able to show their physicality on the defensive side of the football when it comes to bowl game play. And I think that good defense is going to lead to easy offense and shorter fields. And I think that the rushers on the end are going to have a tremendous one. I think Deontay Lawson's going to have a great one. Jahad Campbell's done a tremendous job. You look at the secondary level there, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Hopefully he has been able to come out of concussion protocol and he's playing well along with Terrion Arnold. And you look at true freshman Caleb Downs back there all year long, producing and being solid. I think that defensively, that's what's going to be the key for Alabama to go ahead and get this semifinal victory.
All right. JT, what about you?
Do I have to do a prediction right now? We ain't even
Not
looked at
a,
the
not a prediction, not a prediction.
Offense
Just
or defense?
because see what's going to happen. I hope make sure you guys hang in here because the way we're talking about these predictions, once we show this film and actually show you some of their strengths and weaknesses, you might change on how you think about the outlook of this game. Because there's some good things that Michigan does, but there's some bad ones too. And it's really kind of making me get conflicted a little bit on what I actually thought at the beginning before I watched all this film to now. So what my question was, JT, do you think is the offense going to have to win it or the defense, basically? And you've seen some of the film too. So
Yeah, I think that the defense is going to have to win it in the sense that this can easily be a game where not a lot of points are scored. Typically, I mean, if we're just kind of looking at box scores, that's how both of these teams play. If Michigan is winning a conference championship 20-0, I think maybe it was 26-0.
26-9.
And we knew Iowa couldn't score anyway, but Iowa's defense was pretty good. That was more of a slugfest than the score would indicate. Anytime you shut a team out, like, yeah, you beat them. But Michigan had to put good drives together in order to do that. Same with when they played Ohio State and when they played Penn State. It fell to Michigan's offense to be efficient enough to score when they needed to score. And they've been able to do that all year. Yeah, they do have some games where they kind of ran it up, for instance, 45 points, but that would be our equivalent of running 50 points up on Middle Tennessee State or Kentucky or whatever, however that went. I think it would probably, if this game plays to the strengths, it probably looks a little bit more like Georgia, Alabama, that kind of game where the defenses are not necessarily struggling to keep points off the board, but they're going to need to play well because if one defense starts to falter and that middle eight, for instance, you give up a touchdown and a field goal before the end of the half and then they get the ball back and then you give up another touchdown, that could be a death sentence for either one of the teams because I think that time of possession is going to probably be a big thing in this game. The amount of times that you actually get to have the ball on offense might be slim for both teams, especially since Michigan likes to run the ball. Alabama would prefer to run the ball. And this can be a thing where, hey, you might get 4 possessions in the first half and you might get 4 possessions in the second half. And if you punt 6 times, game's over. You're looking at a max of 14 points and now you might have a problem. So I think it's more incumbent on the defense on both sides to make sure that the points stay low. I don't know how you interpret that, whether you're saying that means the offense needs to win it, but I think that the defense is going to have to make sure that neither side starts to get out of hand.
Well, and I guess I agree with you, and I like the piece that you said about how do you interpret that, because I guess I'll have to tie this up, because I'm basically taking your analogy, but saying that the offense is going to be important. I think this is the game where Jalen Milroe is going to have to win the game. I'm not talking about necessarily running or whatnot. I do think they're going to have to be sustained drives, like you said. He's going to have to be able to move the ball, not have any turnovers. We can't have the penalties. The offense has to try to keep the ball and score when they can, even if it's on long drives where they're running the clock or something. The way that they're playing this defense, I don't think they're going to try to. They're not going to they don't want to give up the big plays. They're vulnerable to it, but I think they're going to try to make Jalen Milroe, try to keep him in the pocket as much as they can and force him to make the throws. I think they're going to say, hey, y'all aren't going to be able to run the ball on us, not consistently. We're going to put a lot of guys in the box, and we're going to make him hit all the right throws all game long. So I'm thinking that the offense is going to have to win this game, whatever that means, low scoring, but it's going to have to be something where some explosive play is going to have to happen at some point in time, and Jalen Milroe is going to have to make it happen. All right, so let's talk about these predictions. Early, I know this might change before the week is out. Nick, you want to go first? How do you see this coming out, and what do you think the game's going to be?
Well, I picked Michigan at the very, very beginning of the college football season to win it all. And once the college football playoff was announced, I picked Alabama to win it all.
Oh, you try to be nice to the viewers and the fans.
No, let me tell you why. Alabama has miraculously won so many close games. People like to say I'm an Alabama hater. I just root for chaos. So when I see that Tennessee game close, I'm like, oh, here it is. Can't wait for the show Monday. Or when I see that USF score, I'm like, oh, here we go. Time to lock in. But Alabama always finds ways to pull those type of games out. You know, even though they may play down to their competition a little bit sometimes, they always find the way to win the close game, no matter what, right? We all watch the Auburn game. They always find a way to win it. So now I think they just got a little hair on their chest, a little more than Michigan, who I feel, for the most part, kind of blew out lesser competition throughout the season. I think we can all agree Alabama played a tougher schedule than Michigan did this year. But I also think that Alabama needs to get up early. I don't think they need to play a comeback game. I don't think this is the team to do that against. They need to get up 10-0 early and then just play safe football the rest of the way. So my final prediction for this game, and I do think that this game is going to decide who the national champion is. Doesn't matter, Washington, Texas, whoever comes out of that. I think the winner of this game is going to handle them. I'm going to go with Alabama 20-17.
Okay. All right. We got it. Corey?
Well, Nick will tell you that every now and then a blind squirrel will find an acorn. And I was able to correctly pick the score of Georgia, Alabama. And I think that
He brings that up every day.
Yeah, you have to, like I said, nothing wrong with that. Okay. So here's what you have now is you look at Michigan and Ohio State. That final score was 30-24. 30-24 was that final score. I'm liking the 3-week resting period for Coach Saban and his staff to go ahead and prepare and to go ahead and get healthier. So my final score is going to be 31-24. Alabama, 31-24 over Michigan. I think that Will Reichard definitely continues. Not only is the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, he'll go ahead, he'll put in his due diligence, and I think that you'll see both offenses come out a little bit sporadic, kind of like you saw Alabama in the SEC championship game sputter on their first offensive series, receiving the football. And then they made the adjustments quickly. It didn't take long like it has in the past for Alabama's teams and coordinators to catch on. Not the case this year. You make the adjustments, you allow them to go to the sidelines, and now you're looking at 31-24. Alabama is going to be victorious.
All right. All right. I know JT don't really like to give points and all that kind of stuff. He's such a data guy. And I don't know, his little computer module might have gave you a score, or at least on how many points.
Yeah, it would give you a spread. I hadn't run it in a couple of weeks though. It broke. So
okay, well, there must be a programming issue.
It is.
amateur. But so, do you just want to give us a win-loss and not necessarily a score? Or are you gonna
Yeah,
stick
I mean, so I think this kind of reminds me of this is going to be a heavyweight fight, but I think that Alabama's and I should have been more prepared because I have their 2015 playbook, their defensive playbook that kind of like tells you everything that Nick Saban has always been about, and basically it's run the ball, stop the run. And I think when you give a Nick Saban led team 3 weeks to prepare, you let them get healthy. What they're going to be trying to do is take away your best asset. And I guess we can talk a little bit more about it here in a second. But as we had saw, Michigan, Blake Corum doesn't make people miss often. He doesn't break tackles often. He doesn't get yards after contact. I think he was like in the 8th percentile for missed tackles, which for those who are not privy to what percentiles mean, that means 92% of all college running backs make people miss more than Blake Corum does. And I think he's in the 4th percentile for yards after contact, which means 96% of the rest of college football who runs the ball gets more yards after contact than Blake Corum does.
Don't hit them like that, JT. Don't put them numbers on them, man. They hate it, man, when you giving them facts on what they say, what them sheets say. Don't do them like that. Only on Teague's take, baby. We give them the real shit. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I think that when you have a Nick Saban team that is so hell bent on making sure that you cannot run the football, and then they're going to make you throw perfect passes in man coverage to beat them. If you can't do that, you don't typically beat Alabama. That's just there's 2 things you got to do normally to beat an Alabama team, and that's have a quarterback that can either make pinpoint passes consistently for 4 quarters, and or a quarterback that can run, but you also have to have a running threat that goes with that. And if you can take away the running threat and your quarterback is not making the passes it needs to make, that makes for a long day. So I do think that Alabama wins the game. That's not to say that J.J. McCarthy can't throw good balls, because I think we got an end zone clip of him throwing an absolute dime. And I was like, that was one of those, like, I don't even know why you throw that ball. That is one of the more ballsy things that I've seen. But I do think that Alabama definitely covers this spread more than 1 point. I think when the game is over, we will see. I think we will feel that Alabama handled business, not necessarily escape with 1.
Okay. All right. Well, so my piece is I like everything that you guys said. I think it's going to be a fantastic ball game. I think this is going to come down to explosive plays that Alabama is going to create. It is going to be a tough fought game. There's going to be hard running. I think everybody's going to be patient, and we're going to be patient enough to where Jalen Milroe finds one of those deep balls somewhere just miraculously down there a couple times during the game. Because when you watch this film, you're going to see that their secondary really ain't that good. I don't even know if we put all them clips in there. But I think that's the weakness of their deal. And if he can handle the rush that they put up and buy just enough time, I think our wide receivers are going to get behind them and get some big chunk plays. And for that, I think that we win. Mine is close to both of you guys and what you guys are saying. But I'm going 27-17 Alabama. Okay. So, hey guys, listen.
Michigan.
Yeah, you should have picked
Two same around here.
No, we'll get you back on here. I know you'll call me a little later. You can change your mind off the air, but that's fine. I do know that you got to get back to the house and get to your baby. Congratulations!
Right, I got baby duty to take care of. DUTY and DOODY.
Yeah,
yeah, you know about that too. So again, appreciate it, guys. Nick, Corey from WNS P105.5. Make sure you guys get that app downloaded. Once you guys tell them how you guys find out. I know Corey's kind of active on social media. I don't know how active Nick is on social media.
I'm a lurker. I don't post much, but I see everything.
Yeah, see, that's you and JT.
No, I don't see nothing no more. I don't even lurk.
I'm stop tagging you, then. Okay, Corey, tell everybody where we can find you at, man.
At CA LaBounty. At CA LaBounty. It's on the screen. At CALABOUNTY is how you can find us. Or also at WNSP 105.5 is also how you can find us for the stations. We love to sit and retweet and share all that's going on, not only in college football, but in the NFL realm as well. And of course, CA LaBounty is how you can follow us on X/Twitter. It's always going to be Twitter in my life, but
That's
CA
right.
LaBounty is how you can follow.
Yep. Okay, well, then we're going to go ahead and let at least one to go. Corey, are you going to hang out for the film session?
Yeah, I'll hang out. I love watching film.
Okay. Well, this is the point where JT gets to tell it. Well, let's give him a round of applause for all the work that they did. Yeah. So we do appreciate you guys very much for coming in and spending the time with us. The show's probably going to go a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah, we got a lot of film to watch.
We've got a lot of film. If you're really interested in it, if you want to see it, just hang in there with us. Or if you feel like you got to leave because you got to go to work or do wherever it is, make sure you come back to the page and find this film, because we got a lot of clips that we feel like would be interesting and you want to hear on how we dissect that. So we do appreciate it. Thank you, Nick, for coming, hanging out with us. And we're going to go ahead and move into this film session in just a moment. Right, JT?
Yep. And that seemed like a pretty good ending. So podcast is done. We're ready to jump into it.
All right. Well, that's good. And so we're going to get into this film session again. This session is also, again, brought to you by Beaches LLC. Can you run that real quick one more time? Please let me know when it's done.
Yep.
Let me tell you about Beaches LLC. Yes, Beaches LLC is your source in the state of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle for exquisite quartz sand beach pools by Biodesign USA. A Biodesign beach sculpted pool is crafted with beach entries, customized seating areas, and swimming zones, and they all can be personalized to your swimming needs. The Biodesign swimming pool is meant to immerse you in your surrounding environment. The illusion of a truly beautiful beach can be created and extended onto the patio area, creating one seamless shore environment. Let them help you turn your dream backyard escape into reality with an eco-friendly, more durable, less time, and less expensive to maintain, totally customizable pool. To learn more about turning your dream into a reality, please visit their website at www.yourbackyardbeach.com.
Oh, look at him. That means we're back, JT. We're
Yes,
back.
sir.
Okay. Well, that's excellent. So thank you to Beaches LLC. Thank you to Bama Standard for doing the simultaneous simulcast with us. And also thank you to Choctaw Casinos for doing this. So we want to get into this film if we can. So JT's going to go ahead and pull up some of this Michigan tape. Right. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. We'll make sure I got the right place. So I think the first play is going to be a running play by Blake Corum. Okay, so the thing that I guys want you to see this is how they actually block up front and really how he maneuvers himself to get the backers into a bad spot. That's what I think, JT, on this. So I don't know if you got both angles on here or not.
Yeah, no, I got everything. We can roll through. We should have the scoreboard angle, the wide copy, and the end zone, I think, for each play.
All right, so we're gonna let this go. So this is it's supposed to be an inside run. You see him checking, looking over to the side. I think we're gonna get a lot of that in the game as well. And then they're just trying to get some indicators. And this is supposed to be a lead. And you can see him right now stacked behind those linemen so you can't see him. He seems to be a smaller dude a little bit, but if you see their linebackers, they got up in there real tight. JT, I felt like we've had a little bit of that Corey. I feel like we've had a little bit of that with our linebackers where they had ways to, or where our backers were they were getting in the wrong gap sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We missed this dude when JT shows this. He gives a nice jump cut into the gap to the left, and he's one-on-one with the safety, which hopefully our safeties tackle a little bit better than this because he's going to the house. All right, so if we can show this from the back angle, I think this is a better piece, and then let's just discuss, a little bit on what do you think linebackers have to do.
Because I wasn't particularly happy with what I saw from Ohio State's defense right here. But you do have to give Blake Corum credit because he does that jump cut is nasty. He does set up people to, they have 2 holes they think they got to figure out, and he'll set you up with the wrong one, jump back to the other one, and take it.
You see him right now. These back, and I like it that they're triggering kind of fast, and they pull the 22 pulls the lineman off that double team really quick, but it hurts him at the same time, I think. So why is running this? So what do you think about our linebacker play, Corey, a little bit, and how we've been feeling and stuff? Could this be a problem, or are we going to be okay and be disciplined, or what do you think?
I know that against Auburn, it definitely was a problem. I mean, I think that anytime you give up 244 yards rushing to Auburn coming in, that it only averaged right at maybe a little over 120 yards per game, you have to go ahead and make sure that you fill the correct gaps. Because if you do not, and they're able to get a hat on your linebackers getting sucked in at all, then that's what Corum wants. I mean, he has 24 rushing touchdowns, and you look at him having right over 1,000 yards and 24 touchdowns. Why does he have 24 rushing touchdowns? It's because of them being able to get into that red zone area and for him to make great decisions like this film does show, because initially he decided that where he wanted to go. And you mentioned him being a small, compact back, kind of like Mark Ingram, when you kind of disappear behind the line of scrimmage. Correct decisions. And by the linebackers, I think that's what's going to control, again, in the trenches and the linebackers. The box play is going to be so very critical in the semifinal game.
Yep. So when you're watching this, you can see it. I'm talking about the linebackers a little bit, but their 91 didn't do a very good job either. I think he got himself turned where he probably need to stay a little bit more square to the line of scrimmage, or things like this will happen. So you can let it run, JT. And I just want to show, I think you have the same type play in a different game that I want you to see, because he basically did the exact same move in another game versus Penn State, right? So when we get to that clip,
so I thought, and this is me more critiquing linebacker play for Ohio State. Just because I think 22 makes it hard on himself, because I think he's getting a bit greedy here.
Too late.
And it's not even necessarily him getting up to the line so quickly for me. I think where the problem is, again, it's kind of, if we just want to assign gaps, which is what I usually try to do. It's like, all right, you got this gap. You've probably got this one. You've got this one. You've got this one. You got to set the edge. You got a guy out here. We got another guy setting the edge. He's probably man-to-man, so he's probably not going to fold in to C-gap here, but this safety can fill right here.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is, if I just run it just a little bit here, we've got, if 22 just sees this hole and just runs through it, even if he gets blocked and he just stays on this outside shoulder and he stays here, there's nowhere for Blake Corum to go except to bounce here, where the safety's actually in a better position to make the tackle. But what ends up happening is 22 gets in here and tries to guess and I think he gets a little bit greedy, thinking that he's going left, and that right there is where Michigan makes their money.
Yeah, that's impeccable vision by Blake, because I don't even know how he sees the damn defender. But on his lineman. So just for him to even make that jump, that's pretty impressive, I think. But needs to say, you see 91 getting whooped too. So, but Sick got to make the tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I think if he probably is in a better position, I mean, he still should make the tackle anyway. But he's probably in a better position if his linebacker, quote unquote, doesn't hang him out to dry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get to the next one just so I can at least show you this. I just wanted you to see that he's done it multiple games, not necessarily about the play, but it's not the same formation, but almost. They just don't have the lead back this time.
Oh,
But it's just
other
eerily-
thing is that just for people who are going to be watching this game at home, Michigan does have a huge tendency. Not that it actually matters, and I know they know this, but they do have a huge tendency to where anytime they come out, well, first, it seems like I might be able to count on one hand how many times Michigan has been on the field without a tight end.
Mhm.
They're always going to have a tight end, and I think it's like 90-something% run when the tight end is a nub. And what I mean by nub is he's the only guy over here. There's no receivers. The rest of the receivers are over on this side. That is, we already know they're heavy. We say heavy run. I think they're only I think they might be 60-40 at best. I think they're like 58-42 or whatever on the season. But in these kind of formations, it's over 70% run. I know that.
Yep. All right. So let it go. I mean, you just want to see again, not so much to really talk about the play with the linebacker, but you can see exactly what he does to the linebackers again. He's taking a blitz, but I mean, that's the exact same hold. Tell me that the play don't look.
It's the same. Yeah. It looks like the same play. And you might have the linebacker might have the same issue, right? He's responsible for a gap.
Yeah, he took it because he blitzed.
Yep, and he's
But
got a
you
blitz.
two doubles. So the thing that everyone got to see is that you got two doubles, and that's why it's really important that when I say doubles, a duo blocks, the center and the right guard takes the defensive tackle or nose guard, and the 91 gets doubled as well. And they're looking to double up to number 11. I love the way that lineman is keeping his eyes up, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can see it. He sees the blitz coming right from the jump.
So he's taking it, and they're just one guy short, though. They don't have.
They are.
There's the other safety there. So
there's nobody here. I mean, I guess you can barely see him. He's down here next to my face.
Yeah. So see, I mean, it's gap control and it's being aligned properly. I mean, they're just outmatched. So he takes this to the house. That's all I already had on that one, GT. Corey, anything you need to add? With that.
I mean, do you guys see Caleb Downs coming down from his safety position, missing tackles like 21 and 6 did? Because we know it's always a game of angles. But I mean, again, if you're going to come down and you're going to make tackles in the box, what you've seen is Malachi Moore tackle well in open space. You've seen Caleb Downs take great angles. You really haven't seen Alabama in the secondary get gashed beyond. If they get to the second level, helmet on helmet, then you see secondary players have to make the tackle. But do you see Downs not being able to come down in the box and make that tackle? Kool-Aid rolling over, not being able to make that tackle. Because I think that's one of the things that Kevin Steele's done a tremendous job of is our tackling has been better this season.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanna answer that question and tie in this comment from Coach Smook. He said if 17 leans, I think he's talking about Trez Marshall, like 22 is doing. And like he was doing against Auburn, we'll see very similar results. But if he wins his gap, it allows Caleb Key Arnold to support effectively. And I wanted to tie that in because I did look at the run support grades of Alabama's defense because I was just curious on like who grades out best against the run. It might shock you who was at the top. Terry and Arnold had the highest grade in run defense, followed by Damn, it was somebody who shocked me. But he didn't have very many snaps, so I kind of threw him out because he didn't play as much. But third was Caleb Downs, and we saw it again in the Georgia game. He was living in the box. I think they even kind of moved. You got to tell me if I'm wrong, Dad. I think they moved Malachi back a bit. He was playing a lot farther off than he usually does. Caleb Downs was sitting a lot closer to the box. And then they had Key and rotating in somebody else back there every now and then. So I think Caleb Downs is going to be huge for us in this particular scenario, because I think especially in these kind of looks, I might have went back too far. In these kind of looks, what I imagine is that where 25 is sitting, if I get my pen, where 25 is sitting, Caleb actually kind of moves back a little bit so that he can get in here if he needs to. And then we expect the safety to come and force from the outside this way.
Make a bounce.
Yes. And I would expect that a little bit more when you have a nub tight end too. I don't think he's going to be sitting this far out. Maybe he will at the start of the game, but I think he starts to kind of creep in a little bit more, and we start to trigger outside to help this, because
I don't think they'll be able to run over there. Not against us. Not to the nub side.
I don't think so either. But they did it at Penn State because I can only assume they were misaligned. They had a guy back here and he was over here, and then they had like 44. I don't know if it was actually 44, but he was in a 9, so he was outside straight to the tight end. And then for whatever reason, he went inside. Blake Corum went outside like this and took it for like 50 yards.
Yeah, off to the races. New vision. Okay. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one if we can. This was actually so we just showed you a couple of running plays, and I want to see if you can see a couple pass plays.
This is not good by 21. Sorry, I know we're supposed to be getting, but
you gotta get through it.
He's like, I don't want no part of this.
We talk about Michigan, man.
I know, but
the defensive side coming out on you, man. You're looking like, man, I want my safety to do that. It's bad angle and all that kind of stuff. But, it's really just to highlight that guy can take us to the house is really the point. So this is the play that JT was actually talking about here. I don't know, I saw it in the game, and I was when it was on TV, when I was actually watching this, and I was like, this is absolutely unbelievable. So this guy here, he can make some plays, J.J. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. And I think this is there might be some other clips, but this one here is just like unbelievable. If he gets this kind of luck or precision or whatever you want to call it. So when you're talking about throwing in tight windows, which I think he's going to have to do, because I think our DBs can run with all of their wide receivers. I don't think we're outmatched by anybody from their skill positions on the outside, right? That's what I feel. I don't know. JT might feel a little different, or Corey might feel a little different. But when you get stuff like this happening, right? So you let this go. He's got a good rush. I think we're going to get in routes like that. That is just ridiculous, right? I think we're going to get some motion like that to try to get our guys off of press and things of that nature. But for him to put this here, I think we had another.
Yeah, you got to see it from this angle, because this is the one I was like, what?
Yeah, the linebacker's right there. If that guy don't even turn around, or a corner or whatever he is, safety, he probably would have intercepted it, but I don't know how he got it in there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna do this for 4 quarters, God help us.
Long day.
Because he stood in here and he threw it right as this dude is trying to drop and figure out where he needs to be dropping to under this receiver, and it zips right in between those two.
So how would you grade that out right there, Corey, when you see something like that? Do you think this is the skill set that everybody say why he was originally being talked about up for a Heisman or whatnot? Yeah. These are the kind of plays that make it go, or is this just
that's a Heisman clip, period. I mean, because he knows that's what you call timing and precision, and definitely the quarterback wide receiver trust factor there, because you can tell they put in numerous amounts of hours on that because that ball is gone. And then true enough, the defender, if he whips his head around and turns around and sees the football. But threading the needle is what great quarterbacks are able to do. And the trust that he's showing his wide receiver there. Michigan doesn't have a 700, 800, 900 yard receiver on their squad. I think their leading receiver has only 662 receiving yards. So when you look at their leading wide receiver only having 662 yards, I think that the trust factor on that throw right there was tremendous. And like you said, it's just one of those, oh, you know what plays that where you just, hey, play the next play. That was just great, great offense, great defense, even better offense. I mean, Mark Jackson used to say it in basketball, hand down, man down. There's nothing you can do about that. It's just a tremendous throw and tremendous timing, quarterback, wide receiver. And I mean, if you're making that throw, I'll give you one of those a game to where you can add that to the highlight reel. But I don't expect that to happen all night long against Alabama.
Yep. And so if you go back to the end zone copy one more time, the only other piece I want to talk about this, and I hope that our guys keep our composure because I want you to see the linemen look at their right side. They do this a lot when you watch what Michigan does. I think it might be their right tackle, 52. I'm not really sure, or maybe a 65. I don't know, but he ends up falling on the guy right there. You see him get double team and jack, and then they kind of lay on you and all this kind of stuff. I hope our guys don't get up trying to be macho guys and catching the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties because these guys do like to throw people down to the ground and then lay on them. We see it a lot of times, particularly their left tackle. He does it a bunch too, where he'll kind of club you and fall on you. It's legal, but I don't know, JT, you know how it is when you're on the bottom of the pile and someone you kind of and you're on national television. That's not the kind of feeling that you want to have because you know they're going to show the replay. They're going to be on someone highlight reel. So
well, I wanted to point out something at the end of the play here because this caught my eye. The guy who's getting paid to be paying attention to hold the camera. I'm going to try to circle him for you. This guy right here has to be one of the most confident dudes I think I've ever seen because before the ref even signals touchdown, he is sprinting onto the field to get that shot. And he kind of just comes out of nowhere. And I just wanted to just bring attention because he's already he's here. And then on the end zone view, he kind of just pops up.
It is crazy because the guy actually took the ball away from him. I remember the deal on whether or not it was an interception or not. But anyway, just as good as he has it, the next clip I want to show you is a piece where you go, well, which one of these J.J. McCarthy's are you going to have? This is just a simple, really out route. He has no pressure on him. They give the indicator again. If you guys don't know what indicator it is, try to find out if it's man or zone. This guy down here at the 40 is wide open, but you also, he's letting the ball fly right now. You see the ball's already out, and he just skips it, And so you watch one of those plays, and then you watch something like this, and you go, okay, was that fluky, or is this fluky? There's nobody in his face, and he just missed it. So I'm hoping we see more of this part of JJ.
Yeah, so I want to draw a little bit of comparison. So there's 13 minutes and 53 seconds in the first quarter. Ohio State had the ball first. They've only had the ball for a minute and 7 seconds. He's probably not, quote unquote, warm yet. This is nerves, whatever you're playing in another big game. Obviously, he ended up getting better throughout the game. However, that's what happened against TCU last year. He threw a pick early. It went back for 6. And then he threw another one that ended up going for 6. And then next thing you know, you're looking at what you thought was big, bad Michigan getting beat by TCU handily. So if that bad ball turns into a jumped route early, that could rattle Michigan.
Yes, because I don't know if they're going to just be able to run the ball down their throat, try to catch up after that. So I don't know which one we're going to get. All right, so we just wanted to show that. All right, so this is the other clip. The next one is when they bring in a different quarterback, the ORJI, right? And this is what me and JT were talking about on we wish we actually ran our quarterback counter. It looks like
Oh yeah, should I just go ahead and go to the end zone view? Because
yeah, that'd be good. So they do a little bit of motion again, always trying to get indicators over man and zone and all this kind of stuff. If you guys don't remember what counters are, you got pullers going, guys blocking down. There's the pullers going out. So check it out, and you see number
keep
10
in mind
actually,
this is the exact same play that Alabama has run with
Stick-
Jalen Milroe.
stick Jalen Milroe in there. He just don't tend to go inside. He always try to bounce outside, and we scream every game. He's so fast. So you got a kick out by the first guy, and then a wrap by the next guy. Patience, hit the gap. Now JT pointed out some things earlier in the show about what his tendencies are when he comes in. He hadn't thrown the ball yet at all. So I'm assuming we're going to try to force him to throw if he comes in. I didn't really study on when they put him in, JT, or whatnot.
I looked at his plays just because I wanted to see how often they were using him. He played in the Penn State game. I think there was one game he came in garbage time and had like 3 plays. Basically, all you need to know is the redshirt rules are you get to play in 4 games.
Yep.
And you get to keep your red shirt. As of right now, he still has his red shirt. So even if he plays against Alabama, this is still only like his 4th game. They have used him super sparingly. When he did, I think he was in the game 2 plays against Michigan or against Ohio State. It was Michigan State. He was in the game for like 4 plays, and they were already up by 40 points or whatever. And then he was in for 1 more play against Iowa, I believe. I think that's all he's seen.
11 carries, 69 yards for the season, 1 touchdown. Passing wise, he has not attempted a pass at all. So that'll let you know a little bit about what he's going to bring offensively to the table. One of those wrinkles that you can see, because you know he's capable of, but then again, to me, now is not the time to roll the dice.
Well, we had to coach against him in high school. We know how dynamic of a player he is because that game might have looked a lot different had he not got thrown out for targeting.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we actually thought he was going to, full disclosure, we thought he was going to come over to JP2 and play for us for a little while, but he opted not to come to us and go back to public school afterwards. Very cerebral guy, very smart. Surprised they're not throwing him. Maybe just hadn't picked up everything yet, but it will be. So I want to ask Corey this, though, from the other side, because we were kind of comparing him to what Milroe does and whatnot. So what do you think? Why do you think, we've been speculating the whole time on why Milroe might not want to run up in there, not patient enough to wait on those linemen and kind of sneak in there between that. What do you think that is, Corey? Why do you think Milroe might not want to?
I think it's that his T-shirt sums it up. Lank, let all naysayers know. And sometimes he knows what the naysayers are going to say, and that is, I'm a run-first quarterback. And I don't think that's how he wants to be labeled. I don't think that's the stigma that he wants to stick on himself. And you see in the Auburn film, Coach Saban giving him the business. Run the effing ball there when he went past the line of scrimmage. And there were several times throughout the season that he could have turned in and easily have run it, but he wants to show you that he can go through his progression. So I think that it boils down to him wanting to continue to mature as a quarterback, knowing that he can run, and just being patient enough to where we see the lanes. He knows the lanes there. But look, his mentality is, let me hit the explosive play first through passing the football and then running second where we're all saying, no, turn into Jaden Daniels and be that video game guy to where if they're going to give it to you, go ahead and rush for it. As evident in the LSU game, his numbers were equivalent to the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, and I should apologize to our listeners on the downloaded podcast. No, they wouldn't. They won't
Nope.
know anything about this, so they won't know. Okay, so scratch that. I was about to make sure that they knew who Corey was, but they won't hear this part. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We got some defensive clips I want to be able to show for them. This is Michigan's on defense now, and I really wanted you to see a couple things in this type of defense they're playing. So they do play some combo coverages. JT can kind of look at this and we'll see. And this is kind of I think we run similar type routes. So it looks like they're playing like a cover 4 down here. So this would be called a cover 6, where it's combo coverage, a 4 to the bottom and a 2 to the top. It's up for discussion. I'm just saying in a little bit that I've watched. So when you let this go, that's important to know because the quarterback got to be able to see the difference, right? Because it's not true cover 2 at the bottom because the safety's in the middle of the field. It doesn't look like he's going back for deep third, but maybe he is. I don't know. The whole point of it is
I'm gonna say no, because if he was playing deep third and he's got a post route coming to him, he should be going back the other way. So you're probably right. It probably is quarter half.
Mm-hmm. Which is still kind of off. I mean, I guess you're supposed to be about 12 or so. Just seemed like they got some room. But the safety's in conflict at the top. And this is why I think Jalen Milroe can have one of those big shots, because this is what happened here. Because I think our wide receivers can get behind them. Yeah, to grab him and everything else. But, they were stacked. The safeties got deep half. 2 guys running straight up the field. They don't have no jam or anything. If you got Burton and anybody else coming at a safety like that, I think we win. Okay. I'm glad they got it on this because I think you need to see the defensive lineman in this part we were talking about, Jalen Milroe. These guys are getting up the field. Let me see if I got this. This is actually 1st and 10, by the way. So if you're wondering, and I'm watching the way the linemen are getting up the field.
Watching the utter confusion from Ohio State right now.
On 1st and 10, both outside guys are up the field. So look at that right there. When I was talking about this earlier with you guys, if Milroe's going to have to step up because these ends do this a lot. I mean, they're up the friggin' field. And this is a zone behind it. And, I mean, yeah, the guy falls back in and hits him, but Milroe either pulls it down and run or he takes a big shot like this to either one of those guys, right? So what I said on the final drive earlier today was Milroe likes to escape outside. He likes to jump outside when he starts to feel pressure like that. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that much the way that they rush. So it's really going to be really important that when he starts to escape, he's got to get up in the pocket, then bounce out, or he's got to do something a little bit different other than just trying to retreat and then run around him, right? Mm-hmm. That's my take on that one. Y'all see anything different?
No, I wonder if they're going to continue to rush that way, though. I don't know if that's, if it's they're rushing Kyle McCord and they're like, yeah, but Kyle ain't finna take off like that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll
find out real quick though.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And I just happen to keep seeing it. I saw it in so many plays. I'm like, it just seems like maybe they're telling them, giving them a go call. Maybe there's some tendencies that Ohio State had that they knew it was going to be a pass. I don't know.
I see what you did there.
What? Yeah, they cheat. So anyway, that's what it is. Is this the next play?
Yes.
Okay, and so this one, so they play a lot of cover 3. So one of the stats that we pulled, I saw they play cover three. Michigan plays cover three 27% of the time. That's one thing. That's a lot. That's a lot of the game. But what I noticed also, JT, in those statistics was that I didn't realize how much people played cover three against us. There was a ton of it when I started with the Alabama film. There was a lot. And I think it was because they were trying to get 8 in the box and try to stop our run and dare them to throw the ball. Right? So it doesn't matter with Michigan. They're playing it all the time. They have different variations of what they do with the linemen and all that kind of stuff. But the coverage concept is the same. Early in the year when I was watching our film versus cover three, we weren't very good at it. That's what I was talking about, Jalen Milroe. He was kind of throwing in the cup, couldn't see. He was just starting to take off and then taking sacks. But he didn't have very many options. So when you watch this one, so cover three, JT, maybe you need to explain or show drawing of what cover three is for the
well, I guess we'll get a little bit of play art. Let him get lined up here.
The safety at the bottom drops down to the flat.
Yeah, so they're gonna try to roll. Saban will call this like 3 buzz. They're gonna roll to the 3 side, which is the strong side. So this guy's gonna come down and probably play some kind of underneath. I don't know if he's responsible for out or whatnot, but he's gonna take a deep third of the field. He's gonna take a deep third of the field, and he's gonna take a deep third in the field. He's probably responsible flat out here. Curl flat. He's got a little bit of work. He's got a lot of area to cover, but he's into the boundary. So they're usually going to take that because there's only one receiver out here anyway.
And this is where thank you for the segue. And that's why I think the way we run, and we talked a bit about this on Teague's take, one of the O's where we're talking about where they run weak side floods. Trips like this, Alabama likes to take someone across the field. So one of those guys would go under and another one would take the deep over. Oh, yep. And then the other guy's going deep up top. So you're trying to stress that one guy that you said had the flat at the top where he's got to make a decision. Is he going to take the short one or the deep one? It just so happens when our deep over comes over, he's at 12, 15, 18 yards deep.
Yeah. So you really got to be disciplined and say, hey, we're going to rally up and tackle this 3-yard one, but you got to get here. And it's super hard to beat that out of somebody to say, hey, don't take the short stuff, turn your hips, run away from a guy who looks wide open, because he is going to be open. And then eventually you might even get him to stop and then put the back out here, which makes it even more difficult.
Now, that is not what Michigan runs on this play. I just wanted you to be able to see the concept on how I think we can beat it. So if you let it go, well, they do run it.
Yeah, kind of.
And that guy is wide open back there. Now, they get to him and sack him. And this is where the if game comes in, right? Well, how do we have enough they only rush 4 guys or 5 with a late guy coming off. I mean, we could have had it blocked up, but if our linemen hold up, that's going to be a big shot to whoever. And that's what excites me, Corey, that I think we can be able to have those type of shots. You think our linemen, I mean, look at I guess that's the left guard, 74. I'm not picking on anybody. It's just, I mean, his head's down and it's just not very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is probably enough time to get this out. Like, if you just know what your read is right now, hitch, and ball he should be in his throwing motion
right now.
Right.
Referee might be blocking his vision a little bit, but that's what I think. Corey, how do you feel about these explosive plays? Am I over-exaggerating myself thinking we can get some explosive plays if we can block a little bit?
I think that Tommy Rees has done a tremendous job. You look at the adjustments and the new formations that he showed Georgia, because we know Kirby is a defensive guru, and he watched every single snap that Alabama had. And there were some new wrinkles in the offensive playbook for Jalen Milroe. And I think that when you take Jace McClellan out of that SEC championship game. It added another dimension for the backs. But you're exactly right about hold, and then get rid of the football. I think Milroe, again, throughout the game, Michigan's going to have that one play to where, yes, the pocket is going to collapse. Because what's was the biggest question mark throughout the first 6 or 7 games for Alabama? It was the offensive line. And where is the protection coming from? Now, with 3 weeks worth of rest and preparation for one team, guys, I really do think that Alabama, again, will the pocket collapse? Maybe once. And I think that that'll be a situation where Alabama will make the adjustments. And Alabama has made the adjustments on the fly offensively. And just like you guys are breaking this down, the coaching staff will do a tremendous job of picking up on Michigan's tendencies early. And if the pocket does collapse, Jalen will realize I have to get rid of the football faster, check down, or go ahead and go with that explosive play. But to answer your question, George, yes, explosive plays will be there for Isaiah Bond and for Burton. And I think Prentice will be able to take the top off the football, at least take our shots, and hopefully the timing will be right.
So, JT, can you go back to that one, just to the back end or something real fast on that last play? I just wanted to point it out again. Look at how they rush. Again, I want to remind everybody, this is still 1st and 10. This is 1st and 10. And the doggone rushers, particularly at the top, are getting up the field again. You know, they're not, again, I don't know. I mean, it just, 71 ain't even got no one to block. I mean, he's just having to get the heck out of there. So these guys are getting up the field, way up the field. And those are different guys, you know. So anyway, I just think that's going to be important to Milroe and how he tries to escape. All right, so this would be the last one of the Michigan tape. This is the cover 1. And this is why I don't think they're actually playing. Who are they playing right here? Purdue. And they're blitzing. They're playing man-to-man press. I mean, everybody open. that corner at the bottom got beat so bad off the jump. I mean,
what's
that's why I don't think
what's frustrating to me is, like, how do you give up a fade and the guy went inside? Like he went inside and then still stacked you and caught the ball outside the numbers.
Ran around you, and that, I mean, that's bad, bro. But look at the slot guy at the top. He 2-3 yards in front of the guy. I mean, he's got to pick of the litter if he wants to throw the under to the top.
He's got the in breaking route on the 20. He's got the ball up the seam. He's even got the ball to the back. Now he doesn't have time to figure that out.
No, they're coming now. They're bringing them.
But yeah, if you're gonna bring 6,
they went.
You gotta help your blitzers, man.
They went 5 out, and so the only thing that I like to give the viewers on this, and I was kind of wondering how much man they would play when they played Ohio State. They played man coverage 1 time. So I said on the final word today that I'd be shocked if we saw it more than 5. I didn't want to say that they wouldn't play it at all. Maybe once because they got a blitz or do something. I did not put it down in distance on this one. I don't remember what it was. But they decided to bring the heat. But the way that they've been playing, man, I don't think it's – and I wanted to show it against Purdue and not against someone else just because – if those guys can get open on them, surely we can too. Can you imagine what Burton's going to do out there, or Bond, or whoever, right? Okay, so that's all of them. I know we've gone into an hour and a half, but we can just run through these real quick.
Well, okay? There's people still in the chat, so.
All right. So this is some Alabama stuff, and I'm glad you guys are hanging out and listening. And Corey, appreciate you too for hanging in here with us. I hope you guys like this and enjoy this. We love this part. Again, we hadn't done this on Teague's Take like this, going into heavy pre-game type of stuff, but we will starting a little bit more of this next year, I believe. I know we still have a couple more games left. We're not only post-game, but now we have some abilities to be able to study a little bit more and get some good film for you guys to show. So we're going to continue with this because I think it's a good niche for us with Teague's Sake. So these clips that I showed, because I think they're going to be in heavy 3. So just for stats, again, I said.
Well, hold on. So you're just Kevin Mahoney. You asked. You said Michigan isn't good at man-to-man, so they'll be in zone 99% of the time. What is Bama's best bet against zone? I think you're about to get your answer.
Yeah. All right. So this cut up is all Bama versus cover 3. So I put a couple runs or maybe one, I don't know, and some passes. I did put multiple runs on here. So this first one is a run and play. We had to get creative because people were stacking the box. JT can talk about this. When you know people are run, you're trying to get 8 people in the box. So cover 3 can allow for you to do that, right? 4 down line.
Yeah, very easily. You take one of your safeties that would be responsible for deep, and you tell him he don't have deep no more. You roll him down, put him in the box, and tell him that if you run first, if you get past, you're going to be laid out to the flat, make the tackle, play another play.
Okay. Yeah. So saying that is we have to be patient. Tommy Reese has been really good with creating this stuff. Me and JT, I think we highlighted this play earlier in Teague's Take 2, where they kind of ran this funny lead where the fullback actually goes in for, I don't know if it's a lead or a counter or what do you call this stuff, because you had a puller from the top side and then the fullback folded in and leads up on the backer. Great design. Absolutely love it. So if I don't see it, you see that cross action right here.
Yeah,
but it's
this is I guess it's power, right? I mean, it's unorthodox, which is kind of cool because normally you're getting power and you get 2 guys pulling in the same direction, right? But depending on who you're looking at, if you are this linebacker right here, and if you're looking at this guy, you're thinking either split zone, maybe, because you're not seeing this dude pulling. And if you're this linebacker, you're looking at this guy, you're seeing pull. So all kinds of misdirection. Then he turns it up and hits you in the face. That's annoying if you're a linebacker.
Yeah, and you got the jet motion or whatever
Yep, you got the orbit motion.
So I mean, there's all kind of stuff going on, and you get play action off this. You can get quarterback run off this. There's all kind of stuff what you see, but it's a good tough run. But that's a good gain against a stack box. And so we got to have stuff like this to be creative. Now, he just find his way getting up in there. So I think that's a good way that you can beat the 8-man box versus the run, right? Is this saying? Oh, it's another one?
Yeah, it's the next play.
Another run. Another way that you can do this, getting indicators. They're dropping out, and JT can kind of circle that guy dropping out in the box. This time, so one way that you beat it is don't even block do we block the end on this one? Let me see.
One second. There we go.
No, man, blocking. Right. It's a toss too. So we're saying, hey, we know you guys got too many guys in here. We can just outrun you. I mean, the doggone defensive end falls down and you just got to count on your wide receivers to block. That's 10 yards. Easy. Creative. It's simple as heck. Most of the time you think sweep that 74 is going to take number 9.
Right. Try to reach him, but you're actually getting an influence block here.
They're all going left. And if you look, so this is again the creativity of our guard and tackle, our right guard. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the center. Oh no, that's guard and tackle.
Yeah.
They're pulling to the right.
Well, so you're getting center guard pull.
Draw it so they can see what you're talking about, right?
Oh, that's a circle. You're getting this, and down this way. It's
Yeah,
weird.
it's very weird. And you talk, so your linebackers is what you're saying. Number 9 is thinking I got to squeeze. That's why he falls down, just because of the way 74 steps. The backer, seeing Puller, probably thinking I need to go left, but he's about to get blocked by 74.
Right, because he's gonna climb and then set this wall right here.
The lineman at the top, when you get a down block on you, you think it's going to run outside of you. I'm thinking of their left side of the line. When you get cracked on, basically, you're trying to fight the pressure.
You're trying to go this way.
The other way. So it just, I don't know, man. It's just good stuff, you know. And again, this is out of an 8-man box, right? And then they bring over another guy to try to help, which I think Black probably goes up to the safety that's dropping down in the box. Yep, he does. The number 15. So it's pretty good, Corey, man. It's pretty good.
And something else, I think that Coach Saban is really emphasizing stress at Alabama for his wide receivers, and what has made his wide receivers elite at the next level as well is their ability to block down the field. And that's something that Coach Saban has praised his wide receivers for doing, and the wide receiver room has done a great job of blocking down the field. I think Black can be that hidden weapon here against Michigan, and watching these coverages that you guys have designed and showed the tendencies that Michigan has. I think that the opportunities there to get someone, because we've heard Black's name called a couple of times, but not really featured. But you take what the defense gives you, and the opportunity there as a wide receiver to show some other love. Great clips right there demonstrating how the wide receivers, as well as the linemen, and Tommy Rees has progressed this offense, because that was against Tennessee, and we weren't seeing that same type of continuity as Scott Hunter says on his Talking Football show with me, dancing ballerinas, the Rockettes. You don't see everyone on the same page early in the season versus later on in the season in games 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
All right, so we got 5 more plays, and we can get into it. So this is a pass, and this is very, again, the crossbuck action, get him out of the run. Again, that's a flood play. It's kind of run a little bit different, what we were talking about a little bit off the play action, but you got to get that flat safety. If you guys can understand what we're talking about, the guy that's going to the flat up there at the top, you got to get him in conflict. Which one is he going to take? Is he going to take the guy coming out of the backfield to get into the flat, or is he going to try to cover the guy behind him? Again, look at the pullers. Look at them linebackers. They're hauling ass over here to the right, and the play is going the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I mean, really, Milroe took his first read right here, which isn't. I'm not saying that he shouldn't, because he is open. That's an easy throw, but
Black.
Yes, he is in no man's land right now.
Yep. So just another way to exploit cover 3. So when you're trying to figure out about it, I mean, if he hits Black, and that's why I just think that we got a chance if we can block long enough and give him time to do it. All right, next one. Oh, I guess you can look at the linemen if you want to up front, because they do a pretty good job holding up here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like to see it, because if you just saw this, this kind of puts you in the eyes of a linebacker, and if you're looking at all this, it all just looks like run.
Left and the guard, both the guard pulls, the runner, everybody's going the other way. I mean, it's just the hardest one is the block at the top. But again, it's the way you got to read as a defensive lineman. You got to step down. So by that time, Milroe's already outside of you. Okay, this next one is a run. This formation we were talking about, this is an unbalanced formation. We talk about it almost every single week.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 4 guys at the top. They still bring this guy over here, but he's off the ball. So it's another way where you got to figure out which way they're going to slide. Now this, if you remember how it is, if you don't get lined up right, this is still cover 3. The safety at the top drops to the unbalanced side.
Yep.
And
He's coming down, and then we actually talked about this play the week after it happened. Right, his angle was
Yep.
real poor.
Yep. So, I mean, you got a lot to think about. Michigan got a lot to think about. They probably watched every single one of the games, and they probably looked at everything they do on cover 3. If you go back and you look at Texas, we're awful. We didn't have any of these plays in here, right? And you start seeing the progression, and now they're going to go, okay, well, what's next? So this is just another creative play where he goes and scores. All right. Okay, next one. Yeah, we're not watching the field goal. I'm sure that's probably something I didn't take out or something. This is a pass. I'm pretty sure it's up to the top again. The safety is actually dropping. So the safety drops down to the bottom side, to the open side. What would you call this? Like a 3-week essentially.
Yeah. So
they're guessing.
we split it in half, right? There's a strong side and a weak side. The strong side is the 3 side. The weak side is the 6 side. So we can buzz the safety outside the nickel. We call that 3 buzz. If he's inside, we call it 3 swap. And then we have on the other side, and I've actually stolen this from Saban's vernacular. 6, when you're rolling down, this is usually thumbs if he's rolling down inside for the C gap. So this would be kind of their 6 thumbs look. 6 meaning weak side, thumbs meaning weak safety, outside into C gap.
Okay. So again, looking at our receivers, there's guys that are going to be open. I mean, but the main thing is a throw by Milroe on the deep out. Again, it's far enough away from the safety that's playing the flat. And I would assume Michigan's cornerback are going to do the exact same thing. Get the hell out of there and try not to get beat deep. And that is about a 5, 10, 15, 20-yard out. It's kind of hard to cover. You don't have no rush. So, Corey, you starting to change your mind on what the score is going to be? You said 31, but it's looking like we might have a chance to do some stuff.
Yeah, I would like for us to go ahead and jump on them early and make them. It's not any fun when the rabbit has the gun, so to speak. And here in this situation, George, Alabama is the underdog. JT, you talked about it. Alabama's a dog, and we'll have an opportunity here to attack them early offensively.
All right, 2 more plays. This is a run, very similar to what we were talking about before.
Well, hold on. I got to correct you because technically this is a pass.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is a pass. He is absolutely correct because he tossed it. But you see what they didn't – they don't – all the guys are coming down in the box. They don't block the defensive end. This defensive end, I don't know if he just saw it or sniffed it out pretty quick. He didn't step down with our linemen at all. He ran up the field. But I'm sure they're gambling saying, Bama, saying our guy's faster than yours, even if we don't block him. So we're going to run around that defensive end. So it's just another creative way to make them think about it because you would think someone's going to block 15, but we don't. So just wanted to see another way on how to attack cover 3. Last play. Or we got end zone company first. All right, this is the last one. Pass. And this is what I was talking about. This is actually our version of what we saw earlier, what Ohio State ran. Weak side flood. Under by the tight end. Deep over by the other guy. Look at him. Ooh, but there's another one coming. There's 4 guys over there. Good Lord. So you got, and that's quads.
Yeah. He didn't run off the sideline. He's up there by the numbers.
Yeah. So, again, that flat guy, yeah, I don't know if you can see, he's about on the 47, 48. He actually has pretty good depth, but he's got two guys to try to cover. Yeah, or three. And the backer's not deep enough for the other third one. The free safety's so deep. There's a good pocket. I mean, Milroe has a pick of the litter. So I don't know, JT. I just think that we got a good chance to beat this cover three that they're going to be in. So I didn't finish that. They run cover three 27% of the time, cover four 18% of the time, cover one, which is 15% of the time. I don't think we're going to see that. And cover two 10% of the time. I think they're going to be in cover three probably more than 30% of the time, but I don't know. Okay. Corey, any last words from you, sir, about this? You feel any different? You know, we showed
Nah,
people a lot of
I
stuff.
still say 31-24. You take what the defense gives you, and one of the things that Milroe has done a tremendous job of here after his first 4 or 5 games. You haven't seen a lot of interceptions because he's doing a much better job of reading the defense, knowing what we are in, and knowing where his progressions and his safety valves are. And then again, he's done a tremendous job of trusting his offensive line, and his timing has been impeccable with whatever wide receiver he decides to throw to, because there are a plethora of wide receivers that Alabama can utilize against Michigan. You showed the horrible coverage that Michigan and the horrible tackling that they can demonstrate at times. So 31-24, jump on them early, and again, punch your ticket to Houston in the national championship game.
JT, your last take?
Yeah, I think something that I think about is when we look at Jalen Milroe and how we perceive his level of play, and I would ask, how do we feel about Jalen Milroe's play against Georgia? Because I think most of us would say, "Wow, we felt pretty good about that." And then you go look at his grades and all that other stuff, and they would say, "No, he didn't play a very good game," which is shocking to me. Which means that if he does play a pretty good game, like actually pretty good game, that spells trouble for a lot of teams in the country. So that being said, we thought that Alabama played pretty well in the SEC championship game, but I think overall offensively they weren't really that good. I know they didn't have very many rushing yards. I don't even think they had 100 rushing yards. And by all the grades, Milroe didn't make mistakes. To Joe Long's credit, he didn't make mistakes, but he wasn't carrying that team either. But they put on a performance. So with 3 weeks to prepare, and I saw a little bit of chat about Harbaugh and his 3 weeks and Saban in his 3 weeks. I'm not totally afraid against with Harbaugh and giving him 3 weeks, because we've seen that, and they were awful coming out of their 3-week break. Not saying that they will be awful this year, but like Harbaugh doesn't have the track record of having 3 weeks to prepare and then like showing up and beating somebody. Saban's teams traditionally have. That's why they play in so many national championship games. Because when you give them that time off, they get healthy, they get to scheme, and they come out with a great game plan. That's why I think the national championship game, if they make it that far, is actually more dangerous, because you spend the 3 weeks on your first opponent, then you got to turn around and play a week later. So I think I've got Alabama by 9. If I have to give a score prediction, mine was actually 26-17. Field goals by Will, and that kind of just, I think it's close, and then we get a couple field goals at the end just to kind of put it away, just to kind of make it feel better. It's with 7 minutes to go, where we're not sitting here biting our nails. But I think the first half will tell us a lot, And I really see Michigan being frustrated, not being able to run the ball as effectively as they'd like to. Which then I think that is where we might see cracks in the foundation from J.J. McCarthy, because then I think J.J. McCarthy starts to try to be a hero, and he hasn't had to do that all year. And I'm not saying that he can't, but when you just kind of have to just turn it on, it's like, look, we hadn't been doing this all year. Now you're starting to play out of character. I think that's when you start getting in trouble, and that's kind of where I see this game heading.
Yep. Okay. That's good. It's great takes, and we're going to find out here pretty soon on how Alabama plays. I just think it is going to be a heavyweight fight. One of you guys said that earlier. I think it's going to be a great chess match, a battle between the coaches and emotions and all this kind of stuff. But I think we win the explosive play part, which tends to make a lot of difference in the game, to where we can get ahead somehow. One of these threes break down, we hit a big one, and then we pound it and run it in, and maybe we kick some extra field goals, as you guys both have said, those kind of things. But I think in the end, we wear them down. I think we're going to be more physical than them. I don't know, as much as they think they're physical, I've seen their linemen up there tossing them little other teams around, the little slappies. They were throwing them on the ground, falling on them, but I just think it's going to be a fight that they're not going to be able to handle for 4 quarters. So I'm going to stick with it. I tend to think sometimes, man, I want to say we're going to score more just because I think we're just going to be ready to go get after them and do it. But I'll refrain from that and stay with my deal, and just know that we should be able to win field position. I think JT said that, right? Or something. Time of possession.
Yeah,
those
time of possession.
And win it. Okay? So, Corey, we appreciate you, man. Make sure you guys get on, find him at CA LaBounty on Twitter and Instagram. I believe they're both the same. Is that right? Yeah, do that. Download that app, that WNSP 105.5 app. Listen to him every single day, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Him and Nick Wiggins do a great job there. They've given me the opportunity to be on the show on Wednesdays with them from 4 to 4:30 on Wednesdays. We chop it up, and I look forward to having that discussion with them next week, because I'll be speaking with them first before we have the recap of this game of this Rose Bowl on our show next week. So we thank you guys very much. We know we went super, super long. Corey, again, thanks for hanging out for a couple of hours.
You guys.
But this has been a fun episode. Thank you, Choctaw. Thank you, Beaches LLC. Thank you, Bama Standard. Make sure you hit subscribe on both our channels. Give us those likes. And we're going to see you back here next Wednesday, 8:15, after we win this game. Deuces.